Hey, well, for me, and maybe some of you, it's time to start seeds. Um, so we're going to go over some of the basic rules that I like to follow for starting pepper seeds. Um, we'll talk about seed trays. We'll talk about germination temperature. We'll talk about um, light, how to treat your seedlings, when to fertilize. Uh, we'll talk about the difference in germination time for varieties. And that's kind of a universal thing. Every variety is a little bit different. I'll tell you, for me, Carolina Reapers and Chocolate Ghosts usually take the longest to germinate, where a Red Ghost doesn't. But right now I'm watering some trays. I'm standing in our kitchen until we get a better setup. This is where we start our seeds. So I've got these trays up and going. I just watered this one, so letting it drain just a little bit, but you can see I got chocolate Moruga Scorpions, chocolate Bootless ES, Thor's Hammer Peach, White Ghost, and some Yellow Ghost, Yellow Boot Jalokias. And all I do when I water, set this one out of the way because it is watered. This one has been watered several times, and that's something you want to do. You want to make sure you saturate it well so that when it goes into the germination chamber, which is what we use, or onto a seedling mat, it doesn't dry out. And you want to keep an eye on it. And so you can see I already had a good, you can't just water it once. Guys, you water it once, you'll regret it. It'll dry out real quick overnight. Sometimes even within a few hours. So make sure you get your watering done correctly so that it don't dry out. Alright, so now these are 128 cell trays. And if I was going to be growing these peppers out for sales, now we'll sell some out of these, but the majority of these are going to be going into much larger pots because we will be using them in our growing. Sorry about the glare of the light, guys. We'll be using them of our growing, and so I will up pot these probably twice before they go into the ground. That way I can get a real nice large plant going into the start of the season. Some of them be grown in a greenhouse and some of them be grown in the field. It's just all on what your preference is. So let's take a look at seeds and where we get our seeds from and so forth. Okay, I want to discuss some of our seed sources. Now, our primary seed source is always ourself, and I encourage you to do that, whether you do non-isolated or isolated. We do both. Mostly focus our attention on our isolated seeds, but I do save some non-isolated just for kicks and giggles to see if I can get an accidental cross that I love. And we don't sell those seeds unless somebody requests them. It's just something that we use for ourselves. But this is one of my seed storage cases. I have 4 of these, and then I have some other things that we store seeds into, but I have 4 of these. This one is all isolated hot pepper seeds, mostly super hots. I do have some jalapenos in here, a few of them, and maybe some other odds and ends hot peppers. But there is currently 72 varieties in here. I know there's a couple of more going in shortly. So this case is getting close to full. I have another one that is completely non-isolated seeds from a season that I didn't isolate anything. And most of your pepper seeds are, I've had them last easy 7 years the way we store them and take care of them. We put them into the freezer. You technically don't go have them that cold, but it's easier than having somewhere that I'm in and out of. I put them in the freezer, they're left alone. So I freeze my pepper seeds and tomato seeds and a few other seeds too. It works out well. But then I record them in a little cheap book I bought. By the way, I will put a link to our Amazon shop for these, and I'll put a link for a book like this. I didn't actually buy these off Amazon, but I can put a link for them in our Amazon store. But it's a basic book, and I've got everything is numbered. I got a number on the top, I got a number on the side, and then the number corresponds to the number in the book. So that number 1 I just showed you, I got 2 bottles of those, so probably around 1,000 seeds, and that's a chocolate Moruga scorpion. And you'll see it continues to follow through. The last entry was a habanada, which is basically a heatless habanero. Some people say they have a little bit of heat. I don't notice it, so we'll say it doesn't. And for the purpose of this video, this is primarily what we're going to talk about is seed sources and a light touch on germination. We'll get into some more detail on some of that in a later video. And then my other seed sources. Now, you may like some of these, and you may not. Sometimes we don't have the choice of where we get stuff from. We try to, once we buy a seed, we try to save seeds from it from then on out, because we are a certified organic farm. So, and plus, it's just good business sense. If we're going to grow, now, if you only got room for 1 or 2 plants, saving seeds may be more aggravation than it's worth to you. But for us, where we're growing out 3,000 to 5,000 plants a year, this year is going to be about 4,800 roughly. We may break that 5,000 mark. We'll see. That's the goal, is to hit 4,800. So we'll see how that goes. But sometimes seeds fall by the wayside, meaning we either didn't get them isolated. Occasionally on bought seeds, the plant we isolated wasn't what it was supposed to be. The year before last, I had 4 from a seed source that the plants were not what they were supposed to be. You know, it was a yellow pepper and it came out as a red pepper. So either it was the wrong seed in the package, or they were cross-pollinated of something, or a lot of people don't think about this. Genetics are complicated. It's just like in humans. You may be one skin color, and you may have a kid that's another skin color, and it may just be because somewhere back in your genetics that decided to pop up. It's a complex thing, so don't always jump on your seed supplier because you had a problem. It don't always mean it's their issue. Now, if you buy several packs of seeds from them, and none of them are what they're supposed to be, you can guarantee your seed supplier has issues. So our main seed source, like I said, is us. And we do sell seeds. You're welcome to go to our website. It's a differentchickfarm.com. We got seeds on there. We also sell off Etsy platform just because people like Etsy. But they're all isolated seeds. Any seed you see that's not isolated will specifically say that it's non-isolated. And we rarely do that, but there is a few instances where someone wants something and we don't have it isolated, so we'll list it in non-isolated to make the customer happy. That's rare, but it does happen. But this is a prime example of one we bought that we lost the seeds to. Now, this is from Refining Fire. Originally, we had these coming from Baker Creek, Rare Seeds, and they don't have this no more. It's a Sugar Rush Cream, and we just didn't grow it for a few years because it wasn't our favorite pepper. But we got customers that like we also sell fresh peppers. We ship them and sell them locally. Probably about 50-50. About half of our peppers, probably, let me explain that. Probably more like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. About 1/3 of our peppers are shipped. About 1/3 of them are sold local, and about 1/3 of them go into hot sauce. So if you're not familiar with Baker Creek, Rare Seeds, they got some nice products. This is orange spice jalapeno. We've grown this for years, and I've got a bunch of non-isolated seeds, tons of them, that we saved. But we want a good isolated source, and I didn't have orange spice. I went ahead and bought another pack of pumpkin spice, but it was just for having a little extra so I could sell some plants off of them. I had plenty from ours. And then Craig's Grande. We grow probably 12, 14 varieties of jalapenos and about 12, 14 varieties of cayennes. Lemon spice jalapenos, brown jalapenos. I had seeds for these, but they were non-isolated. And the spice peppers have all, even though they were non-isolated, they have turned out to what they were supposed to be. And we also grow a Degato jalapeno. I guess that's how you pronounce it. And the Degato is an amazing pepper. I'm working off of non-isolated seeds, but I've been doing that for years off of seeds I saved several years ago, and those seeds have been 99.9% true. I did have a couple of plants in 1 year that did not come out exactly the same. But the brown jalapeno is amazing if you've never grown it. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I had isolated seeds that we used last year. But we failed to get our brown. It was a bad year for us, and we failed to get a mature crop on our brown jalapenos. So I used all of my seeds last year for planting and for plant sales, and so I had to rebuy this year because I didn't get anything that matured that I could steal seeds out of. So you do what you want to do. Another seed source new for us this year, I will try them out, is atomic peppers. So chocolate ghost, the same thing. I've got non-isolated seeds, but my isolated ones, I used them all last year and I didn't get any mature chocolate ghost peppers. Oh, hurt my feelings. Wished I'd had more seeds. And we have used in the past, it's been a while, so these packets are, matter of fact, not sure if I've got a packet. We have used Fatali seeds. Yep, I don't have any packets left, so I've probably used them all. And, oh, actually, I do got one. Actually, it's a brown jalapeno. Got one seed left in it. So, this is Fatali seeds. They are currently not shipping to the U.S. And then we use Tyler Farms every now and then for some new peppers that we want to grow. So far, had great service out of them. And I don't know if it focused on it. That's a Jay's Yellow Ghost Scorpion. We've been growing Peach Ghost and Red Ghost for quite a while. So now we've added yellow. And we're excited about that. Oh yeah. We use Johnny Seeds and High Mowing. So High Mowing is organic seeds. That's bell pepper. It's California Wonder. Sometimes on some of those, it's just easier for me to buy them in bulk, large packages for what we do. And then this is a Cornito. That's a yellow one. That's a hybrid, organic from Johnny's. We also use Southern Exposure. I needed some more Jimmy Nardellos. I had some from last year, but once again, we had a bad season. Maturity on those peppers was really rough, and the ones that did make it had a lot of damage. So we just really didn't fool with them enough to justify, so bought seeds. Used Chili Pepper Institute a couple of times. That's a New Mex Pinata. We've used them on just a couple of things. There's the Jalamundo. I got a few seeds left from a couple of years ago. And I think I've really covered the majority of it. That's about where we've got some stuff from. We did 1 year or 2 years maybe order some seeds from Chili Chump just for fun. I enjoy watching him on YouTube. He's a fan. Hey guys, comment below on who you like watching on YouTube on your peppers. I'd love to talk to you about it. I'd love to. Maybe you watch somebody that I don't. I thoroughly enjoy other pepper people, so to speak. All right, let's stop this here. Let's go back to our germination chamber. Okay, what we use to germinate. Now, I do have heat mats if we get overrun that we use. They are temperature controlled because I want to know exactly as close as I can to what the temperature is going to be. But this makes it better. We also raise chickens. We used to raise rare breed chickens. We did a lot of hatching. We do raise a few rare breeds, but not like we used to. So this is a hatcher. And then this is an incubator sitting below it. You can't see it, but right below it looks the same, but it's an incubator. The difference is the hatcher does not rotate the shelves. They stay fixed. So this works great for what I'm getting ready to tell you. The incubator still works, just not as good as the hatcher. Now, this is a GQF 1550. Probably would be quite a bit of an investment for a hobbyist, but you might find a good used one. If you can find a good used one, that's awesome. This is the digital model. It's got the 3258 digital command center on it. So with this, I can control humidity to an extent. I'll explain that to you. But I can control temperature precisely. It's got two fans inside of it that circulate the heat, and thermostat that controls the temperature. So you get even heating from top to bottom. The only thing I will say is the trays that sit real close, the fan is up here, then there's a tray right below it. The top of that front tray can dry out. So you got to keep a real good eye on it. The rest of them do real well. It's got a humidity tray in here where we put water. And that's, as long as I keep that half full, that's plenty enough to keep my humidity where I want it. Right now I've got it set for a temperature of 82.5 degrees, and we are at 68% humidity. Now that humidity will go up as I add trays. We'll probably get around 80% humidity in here, maybe even 90, because the trays add more humidity as the water in them are added. It uses these metal trays to put your chicken's eggs in, and then I just set my tray in here. Now I can double stack trays in one of these, so 2 seedling trays will fit in each one of these. And what I do is I make sure the one that's on the bottom is the new seedling tray, and the one that's on the top is the one that's been in there the longest, that should be getting close to germinating. That way I don't have the bottom one growing up into the top one. That's easily avoided on peppers. Tomatoes, I don't recommend that because they germinate so much quicker. If you don't stay on top of this thing 2 and 3 times a day, they'll grow up into the other tray because the temperature and everything in here is just precise to make this work. So it's got a door with 3 clamps on it, and I'll bring you around and show you. I'm gonna go ahead and slide this in. Okay. So here we are, 1550 hatcher, digital thermostat. It's 110 volt, by the way, 325 watt. They are made in the USA, at least they were. I guess they still are. And here's my digital command center. You can see my set temperature, and that's the temperature is right now because that door open. There's our humidity right now because the door's open. It's not a big deal. These are just getting started. If this was closer to germination, I wouldn't want to do this. And I adjust my temperature here. And it's even got an alarm that it'll let you know if your temperature's not maintaining. And then this one does not apply to this one. These two don't. That would be the hatcher. And that's whether you turn it manually or turn it automatically. So, on-off switch, power cord. So here we are. There's my humidity tray. And I can hook up a automatic waterer to this. I've got one that's a 5-gallon bucket that sits up here that keeps this filled about 3/4 of the way. So here's my trays, and it's got room for 4 shelves, but obviously I can also set one in the bottom, and I do. And then the bottom one I can actually stack several if I get to the point in the season where I need to, or I can put a big tall ones down there if I use them for anything. So now for you, you will probably not be using this. Maybe you are. Maybe you've got one and I just gave you an idea. But you'll probably be using heat mats. And we'll go into details on heat mats on another video. But you want your temperature to be a minimum of 70 degrees. Some people say a maximum of 90. Some people say a maximum of 85.6 degrees. I like keeping mine between 80 and 85. That seems to really work well on super hots. 85 degrees I've done before also. I've even done 86 degrees. Sweet peppers don't need quite that much heat, but they will germinate in that heat. Seems like the closer I get down to 70 degrees, the lower my germination becomes in my peppers. So, in order to control that, I like to keep it up there where I have it now, because my germination is just much better. Germination is so great that if you sowed a whole tray of one variety, germination is usually 99 to 100%. I run into problems because I don't usually sow a whole tray at one time. So if I've got a variety that is being slow to germinate, sometimes I have to pull the tray because the other varieties are up. Now, I have bought something that I haven't got to test yet. It's a used unit, and we'll talk about that in another video, but it's a surprise that we bought that may solve that problem. But it's something big, so we'll get back to that later. Okay, remember, humidity. You want it high. You're trying to keep the soil from drying out so fast. You're trying to keep that seed moist. So, 60 to 90%. I like to say stay 70 to 85% humidity. 85 is a good number. If you come below that, your soil starts to dry out, and that's what you don't want. So, keep your humidity up. You can do that with a humidity dome if you're starting in trays. Obviously, you can keep the whole room humid, but if you're like most people, you're starting these in your garage or you're starting them in your living room. And so the humidity is easier to control for dome. Once they germinate, they need light. Not as quick as a tomato or a brassica. A tomato and a brassica needs light almost as soon as they poke through the soil, because they get leggy so fast it's not even funny. A pepper will get leggy very fast, but not nearly like that. So you got a little bit of room to play with a pepper. Not much. But also, we'll talk about in a later video what you can do if you do get slightly leggy young peppers. But for now, that's where we're at. Temperature, remember, I like 85 degrees. Seems to work better. 82 to 85 is my preference. I usually stay between 80 and 85 always, but 82 and 85 is where I like to be. 82 seems to work real well. 85 probably works better, but you're getting up there to the point that you're getting into that range of, anything goes wrong, you go over the temperature you want. And so it's easier for me to stay at around 82 and a half, and then that way I'm close to 85, and if it fluctuates a few degrees, nothing to worry about. Remember, don't care what anybody tells you. Yes, you can start pepper seeds without heat, but they will do much better with heat. And at the end of the day, I want good germination. And this works. Heat mats with digital controllers work. You need to control your temperature. Okay, that's all for today. Oh yeah, by the way, I start these in an organic pro mix. Seed starting mix. It's great. It works amazing. There's a lot of other quality stuff out there. Comment below for what you like to use. And if you got any questions, we're glad to talk to you. Thank you.